6:17, rolling right along here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Here with Jerry Cerati Goldman, a special guest on the phone right now. I want to say good morning to musician Chris Botti. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing well.
Excellent.
Jerry?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi, Jerry. I'm good, thanks.
Well, I'm one of your biggest fans.
You're very sweet. Thank you.
Tell us about your new CD coming out.
It's coming out today. It's called Italia, and it's my jazz musician, Italian blood, take on the romance and the beautiful melodies of Italy. And it was an absolute thrill and pleasure to make, and I'm very, very proud of it.
And you know what? It is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
There's two things that you do in my life. You calm me down, and you make me very happy. We just saw you just recently up at the Santa Barbara Bowl.
Oh, great. Well, with Diana, fantastic.
Yeah, and you were just incredible. We were hoping you would be the headliner. Well,
you know, we went around the country as this double bill with Diana and had so much fun doing that. And I had a great summer, and now we're so looking forward to really kind of keep touring and go around the world and in support of the new CD Italia.
Right. Now, are you touring the rest of the year on your own?
We tour all year on our own, and the duet package that we did with the double bill with Diana was only like 14 I guess it was about 20 shows. But you know, I'm on the road about 12 months a year.
Yeah.
And I actually don't live anywhere, so
wow.
So we're on the road with my dysfunctional family that I call my band all the time.
And you're actually going to be close to us, I think, in November at the Lancaster Performing Arts Center.
We are indeed.
And we'll see you there. Hey, can you give us a little quick background? Because I know that you inspired me to inspire my son to start the trumpet.
Well, you know, I started the trumpet at age 9, and what I love about musical instruments, especially in this day of technology and the Game Boy, that really kind of it reaches out to kids in a way that I don't think is necessarily beneficial. The way that our world is sped up kind of flies in the face of common thinking that you should practice and patiently dedicate your life to something like an instrument. So what I mean by all this is that whether your kid becomes the next Paul McCartney is irrelevant. Really, the most important thing that a kid can take from playing an instrument like a guitar or a trumpet or a piano is a sense of discipline and pride that they get with learning little bits of music. And so I'm kind of been a very, very strong advocate for kids taking up something that doesn't give them the instant gratification of the Internet or the Game Boy, but rather something that's going to stay with them long term, keep them out of trouble, keep them focused on something that's going to be good and passionate in their life, and music is that thing.
And what an inspiration that is to all our kids. And as you know, when I explain to people who you are, and we've played your music on the radio station, I explain it that you're singing through a trumpet. Because when I sit and watch you or hear you and I get calmed down, you're doing so much more with the trumpet than just blowing it in my ears. It's incredible.
I mean, I appreciate you saying that, and certainly you obviously know my music and know kind of what my desire is when I set out to make music or even play the trumpet, you know, for an audience at the Santa Barbara Bowl. But that is really kind of at the cornerstone of my desire to make those kinds of records which feature my trumpet like a vocalist, and that's one of the reasons why I do duets with singers, so people can see that the approach is very, very similar, you know, and I think that it really kind of exemplified perfectly on the Italia song, which is brand new, obviously the title track, Italia, with Andrea Bocelli, and you can kind of get, even though we come from a very different background, he comes from opera and I come from jazz, they kind of weave together to form this one hopefully perfect pairing.
And it is, and it's one of those songs that you just sit and listen, and it takes you away from all the worries in the world.
Well, that's very nice of you to say that.
And it's just incredible. Can you tell the audience a little bit about how you started off with Sting?
Yeah, I mean, I'd made like 3 or 4 solo records, and Sting and I were introduced to each other originally at one of his rainforest benefits that he does at Carnegie Hall here in New York City, and we became friends. We had a lot in common. I certainly think our love for jazz and love for Frank Sinatra was at paramount. Was one of the things that connected us. In 1999, Sting kind of got me to I happened to be in London, and he took me out for drinks at a hotel bar called the Dorchester. I always remember when I passed this place. And he had a proposition for me, and he said, listen, I want you to come on the road and be the soloist in my band, and I guarantee you, you're going to have so many more fans that maybe will never heard of jazz, will never thought that trumpet had this kind of communication, and I'm going to give you a platform for your music. And that's what he did. Not only did he give me a platform for my music, he made my career single-handedly cross over, and subsequently I opened for his band on his Sacred Love tour. He's lent so much to my career as far as writing things for my records, being on my records, being on my DVD, and in many ways he's become family. And so I can't say enough about how indebted I am to him.
And it's, I mean, just wonderful. And then I think I was introduced to you when you were on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Well, you know, I guess if you could say that Sting, in so many ways, set the table for my career, Oprah Winfrey came and turned that key.
And opened the door.
And opened the door. And voila, you know, I remember being in Europe on tour when the Oprah Winfrey Show aired here in the United States. And when I returned back from Europe to the United States, my life has not been the same since.
And I'll never forget, because after seeing that show and being a working person as I am, I don't know when I caught it. It was definitely not the afternoon show, and I just happened to catch it. And then I went to try and find your music, and it took me a while to get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's one of the things when you're an instrumentalist. When you're a pop singer, you can release a video, and in the lower left-hand corner is the spelling of your name, and you can see the singer, you know, and overnight you can have whatever, Britney or Paris or Lindsay or whatever it is. Pop culture is set up towards that sort of environment. For an instrumentalist, however, the ascent is much, 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 much slower. And being a jazz instrumentalist, it's much, much slower. And even though somebody like Oprah comes along and you just feel so grateful when you're in a situation to be on her show, it still takes an added bit of effort for an audience. That said, now, you know, I'm in, you know, sort of in that rarefied place of being a bit of a household name as being an instrumentalist, and something that I'm very aware of. And when I'm up early on an airplane every day, I keep my eye on that and feel very grateful for that.
Right. And then the other thing that when I refer to you, it's from the Dr. Phil, the Concerts for America's Kids.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly we touched on it a little bit right now, and that what you're talking about here was an after-school special, and I sort of think, you know, a lot of times parents get like really focused on getting their kid into a particular school or having a particular teacher. But my opinion is that a kid is really molded, their life is really molded in the hours between 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 6:30 when dinner happens. Because, you know, it's the time when they can learn an instrument or learn how to play sports. It's also the time they can get in trouble. And I think that a lot of social interaction with their friends and their neighbor and how they develop socially is in those hours of 3 to dinner time, right? You know, and so I think that school really sets the table for them to go out into the world and find something that means something in their life, whether it be sports or whether it be music or something like that. Those things are really cultivated in that after-school thing. So it was a real fun thing for me to do that after-school special with Dr. Phil and all the other great artists that were on that bill, including Andrea Bocelli and lots of other different people.
Well, in our house, we get home, we put the CD player on, we play your music, and my 12-year-old tries to play along with you. So talking about an inspiration, you've done it in our lives, and you really left a footprint.
Well, that's very, very nice of you to say
inspiration in young kids' lives.
Does he practice long tones every day?
You know, he does some weird things. Don't quite understand.